Hey everybody, this is a lecture that I normally do about a concept called fake news. And, so in this online course that we're taking this summer, I'm going to have to modify some of the things I would do in a face to face class. And one of the things I like to do is have a few lectures. I don't lecture often, I don't have a lot of lectures stored up, but I've got a few. And I feel like this is going to have to be the best way to do it, where I give this presentation and then there'll be video clips that you can click on. But I don't think we'll be able to watch them together because I'm not 100% sure how to record myself watching the video. For whatever reason, when I click on the links, they don't seem to work, but that's fine. We can just kind of do it this way. So when you have about 30 minutes free sometime this week, I want you to engage in this PowerPoint presentation lecture, and hopefully you find it interesting. I think you will. Here we go. One of the reasons why, one of the things we really want to learn about in this class this semester is how to spot something called fake news. When you are in this class, we're going to talk a lot about using sources, and because the entire idea of this class is that you are able to read or consume several different sources of information, formulate an opinion based on the information that you consumed or read, and then you're able to write your opinion using these sources to back up the things you're saying. Because in this class, you are always right, provided you can prove the things that you're going to say. I'll say that again. From this point forward in this class, as long as you can prove the things you're saying and you can point to expert opinion, data, statistics, personal experience, things like that, if you can use these things to support the things you say or you believe, you're always right in this class. Listen, you and I are going to have different opinions about politics. We're going to have different opinions on movies. We're going to have different opinions about a whole lot of different things. And I just want you to know, I don't care what your political opinions are as long as you can support the things you're saying. There's a lot of things that go contrary to my beliefs, but I understand that there are good arguments out there for the reason why people believe the things they do. And it's totally fine with me, provided you have some form of evidence to back up the things you're saying. And so that's what we're going to talk about a whole lot in this class, is making sure we are using evidence to back up our beliefs and the things we are asserting, and also that we're using quality sourcings to do so, because there's a lot of bad sources out there. And we want to make sure that we're focused on the sources that are good sources, so that we are smart and intelligent people. One of the goals of a college degree is that you will go out into society with other college graduates and you will be the smart people in the world. It's like the song said. There's a famous song that goes, "Everybody knows the world is full of stupid people." And we want to make sure that you are not those people, that you are the intelligent people going out there and making great decisions because you're using an intelligent approach. And so a lot of that starts here. A lot of that starts here, and a lot of that starts with the information that you consume that shapes who you are and the beliefs that you have. So in 2016, President Donald Trump ran for president of the United States, and he coined a term called fake news. And if you go to the next slide, there were two questions here, and so all you have to do is just put a 1 and a 2 and then answer those questions. And also, I think I have a question. No, I'm sorry. I have 2 questions that are already in the Dropbox. So hold on. So answer these 2 questions on this PowerPoint, and that's all you have to do. Okay? I hope you enjoyed the talk. I hope you find it useful. We'll probably do one of these a week for a while we're lecturing all our stuff. But I hope you enjoyed it. Right here, I am going to show you scenes from my Facebook page, right? So now my Facebook page, I grew up in Iowa, but I went to college in Arkansas, and I've lived in the South all but 4 years of my life. The other 4, I lived in Spokane, Washington. And so a lot of my Facebook friends are conservative. So that's going to show. That doesn't mean I'm trying to really I'm not trying to win you to my side of politics or anything like that, but this is just all the information I've got to show you. So this is what I'm going to show you, right? But if you look here on this on this PowerPoint presentation, you will see that my cousin Tom Dudek, genius Tom Dudek, he reads this article up here, this one of these false news stories from on Facebook, and then he posts down here. And then we find out Michelle, friend of Michelle Obama, is a dude named Michael. Disgusting. The whole country has been duped by them. My cousin Tom read an article saying that Michelle Obama was a guy and then went on to spread this information to all of his Facebook friends, which includes me. And it shows how powerful these false news stories were because people like my cousin were reading them, responding to them, and then voting Republican because they were disgusted with the news story, right? You see, like here, I remember this was a big one, right? FBI agent who exposed Hillary Clinton's cover-up found dead. And they got a picture of him, they got a picture of Hillary there, right? Well, when you just look at this headline and you look at this article, it looks like Hillary Clinton just killed somebody, right? And it looks like she totally offed and killed this guy that exposed her cover-up, right? Now, this is an example of a news story that is technically true to some extent, but has used a lot of trickery to get you to believe something that's not true. Like I said, you look at that and you think, oh my goodness, Hillary Clinton killed somebody, right? Now, I'm not saying the Clintons are good people. They're pretty slimy, pretty shady, right? But I don't think they're murderers, right? But this news article makes it sound like Hillary Clinton went completely Tony Soprano or El Chapo or I just watched a documentary about it was the guy in Colombia. It was I'm blanking on his name. He's the guy in Colombia. He died in the 80s. It was I'm blanking on his name, but he was a big time drug smuggling mobster, right? Pablo Escobar. That's right, Pablo Escobar, right? And it makes it look like Hillary Clinton went gangster and killed somebody. But if you read the article and you really get into it and you look at other news outlets about this incident, it turns out that this police officer, who did somewhat have something to do with the Hillary Clinton investigation, committed suicide and killed himself in his home. And so, Hillary never killed this person. This person just happened to die on his own by committing suicide. But because of the way they present this article, it looks like Hillary Clinton murdered somebody, right? And so these things were happening where people were going around, basically saying Hillary Clinton killed somebody because they were peddling false information. And you always want to make sure that you have the best information possible because we don't want to be those kind of people running around screaming that Michelle Obama's a guy and that Hillary Clinton is a murderer, right? We want to use accurate information and we want to sound intelligent when we talk about people. If you look over here, people, is this guy in Georgia. This guy right here, Gabriel Sterling, is the head of the election committee in Atlanta, Georgia. If you remember, in the 2020 election, a lot of the votes came down to the state of Georgia. And so Donald Trump was accusing the state of Georgia of falsifying voting records and throwing the election for Joe Biden. Well, listen, we live in Nashville. We're not that far from Georgia. We know that Georgia is a Republican state. And so most of their elected officials who are in charge of the campaign are actually Republican, right? And so this guy right here has been wielding death threats. People have been threatening to kill him and his family over the things that Donald Trump is saying. I'm going to give you another pause to play video clip number 2, which is this guy giving a short little press conference. All right, so after you pause that, you see the pain in his eyes, you see the terror in his voice. This man's life has been thoroughly destroyed and thoroughly upended because of this false information that's been out there. And that's the kind of stuff that we want to make sure we're not doing. We want to make sure we have accurate information from accurate sources to do that. Because then what gets to happen is once you become one of these intelligent people, then you start fighting with people on Facebook a lot because of the sheer stupidity that is out there. Now listen, this every once in a while I wade into this mess. I don't know why I do it. It's a weakness I have where I sit there looking at Facebook. I probably look at Facebook every day, and I see 5, 6 people that just peddle the most hateful, vile, disgusting things possible, right? And I let it go, and I let it go, and I let it go. Because like my wife says, why engage with them, right? But every now and then I just can't help it, right? And so this guy right here, I went to church camp with this guy when I lived in Iowa, when I was growing up. His name's Andy Boyce. And he posts on Facebook, you don't need a conspiracy theory. This is referring to the election. 16% of Biden voters would have either not voted or would have been charged or would have changed their vote if they knew about the Hunter Biden laptop before. Twitter and Facebook actively suppressed the laptop information via government pressure / ask nicely. This would have resulted in a drastically different outcome in 2020. Rudy Giuliani, misspelled Giuliani, showed the laptop live on Loud Earth Crowd right after the FBI raided his home. He said he asked them if they wanted it, and they said no, right? So he's got this thing up there where he is spouting this information, right? Hopefully, by the end of the semester, you guys will be able to read stuff like this and just ask a few questions, right? When you look at that, what questions pop into your brain? Like, what hits your brain where you're like, that's not really adding up? Yeah, the 16%, right? How do you know 16% of Biden voters would have changed their vote or not? How do you possibly come to this number that 16% of Biden voters would have voted for Trump if they knew about Hunter Biden's laptop? So I asked him. I said, hey, how'd you get to 16%? So then we got into a nice long conversation. As you can see, I'm trying to educate him on data analysis and how to check for bias. And basically, I'm being an intellectual snob, as I've been referred to in the past. And this conversation didn't go so well, and he ended up calling me an asshole at some point. And, my wife comes to me on these things. My therapist comes to me during these things. I say, why, Brian? Why are you engaging with these people? And the answer is, I really don't know, because it always goes the same. But, I just can't help myself. So this is the kind of person I want to turn you into. I want to turn you into somebody who just can't get along with people like this because it drives you nuts. But this is a person who's not using quality sourcing, who's not using very good data analysis, and is drawing conclusions that are ridiculous and making himself look silly. So that's what I'm trying to keep you guys from doing. I don't want you to be them. When I clicked on it, this is the first thing that popped up right here. Help us fight for you. We take on corrupt politicians, the far left, and the corrupt corporate media. So right away, you look at this, you're like, I don't know if this is going to be a very impartial news source. I don't know if this is the kind of news source that I can trust to give me good information. It sure looks like it is slanted to the right, and it looks like this may not be a good piece of news information, right? But it says, help us fight for you. So then I click on it, just intelligent stuff, right? Because that's the kind of people we want you to be. And that's what this course is about reading different pieces of information from quality sourcings, coming to unique conclusions, and being able to write your opinions. So that right there is my little lecture on fake news. Next week, we're going to talk about what happens when news organizations step outside that stuff. But yeah, that's it right there. So in the Dropbox for this assignment, I just want you to answer the questions that were in the slide. I don't want you to be these kind of people posting this kind of stuff on Facebook. I mean, this is some of the most vile, nasty rhetoric I've seen in a long time. These are posted by people who are religious too, by the way. The guy on the left was a guy I knew from college. He's a church deacon at his local church. The post in the middle is a post from my minister's wife from growing up. And the post on the right is from my sweet, dear Aunt Margie, who is the only family member to come to my wedding. Yeah. And all of these people don't understand the rhetoric and the nastiness that they're peddling. And so this is the stuff that we want to teach you guys so that you guys are posting intelligent, thoughtful, and